Hello everyone, Ron and David here, coming to you from our website, astrologynewsreport.com.
Now we look at the upcoming planetary patterns and predictions. What's in store in the heavens for January 12th to January 19th and beyond.
The full moon will be on Wednesday, January 15th this week, at 1 degree Cancer in the sidereal zodiac. This marks the culmination of the energies of the lunar month of Pausha, named for the nakshatra of the full moon.
But Ron, the full moon is not in Pushami this year. 1 degree Cancer is in the nakshatra of Purnavasu.
Ah, you are right, David. Usually the first full moon in the calendar year lands in Pushami, the lunar sign in the middle of Cancer. But this year it's a bit earlier in the zodiac and falls in the prior nakshatra, Purnavasu.
So that should make a difference in how the lunar month's energies manifest.
Yes, it does affect the energy of the month.
So what's the difference between Pushami and Purnavasu?
They are similar in some respects. Both nakshatras are nourishing to others, but whereas Pushami focuses its nourishing quality on kith and kin, Purnavasu is more inclusive, welcoming all into its embrace.
Also, Purnavasu has the quality of repeating events. That is good for starting over again with success on the second attempt.
That's true. All right, on Thursday, January 16th, Mars will be exactly square to Venus. This is considered an unfriendly aspect, since the 90-degree or square aspect is an out-of-balance pattern. The effects can be different depending on the planets involved. It can be dynamic, and in some cases, especially in Vedic astrology, it is considered to be good for accomplishments and results.
But in this case, it is Mars, the planet of aggression and combat, sending its energy to Venus, a much more mild-mannered planet. The planet of love and harmony.
And Venus is retrograde, which hampers its expression, so the square from Mars can be even more problematic than usual.
So what should we expect in the way of effects?
Well, certainly Venus's signification of harmony and agreement will suffer. Don't expect much in that department.
And how about love and romance? Probably not a good time to get married when Venus is under attack by Mars.
Yep, you don't want a marriage chart to have Mars aspecting Venus. That would spell trouble.
And then, when we look at the USA chart, we see some really interesting connections. Mars will be exactly conjunct the USA's natal Saturn this week.
Yeah, Mars and Saturn combinations are generally unfavorable. Mars is the attack planet, and Saturn is all about stability. So there's a strong possibility of an event that threatens the stability of the country.
But since the 10th house of a country's chart is the house of the ruler, it could be an action by the Obama administration, by the government itself, that proves to be threatening to the security of the established order, like an executive order. Well, we'll keep an eye out for such an event this coming week.
All right. For the rest of January, Mars is slowly making its way through the last degrees of Virgo. And now we're going to go look ahead a bit to next month, and we see that Mars enters Libra on February 4th. And something interesting happens here. Mars will be joining two other natural malefic planets, Rahu and Saturn. So we will have, then, 3 of the natural malefics all together in one sign. And this is usually not a good thing.
Yes, this is a challenging energy mix concentrated in one sector of the zodiac, and it is a burden that Venus must take on since Libra is one of Venus's signs. Things like advice, guidance, finance, art, luxury, beauty, and pleasure become distorted under the influence of 3 full-fledged malefics.
Yeah, and also we must keep in mind that when Mars goes retrograde on March 1st, it will add more power to the distortion of Venusian qualities, and the sign Libra will definitely be on tilt.
And also, let's keep in mind that of all the planets, Mars is the very worst to have go retrograde, since this condition of going backwards is a fundamental contradiction of this planet's nature. Mars is the significator of forward motion, the action planet, the do-it planet. Mars is also combat and conflict, and when it is held back, you get a pressure cooker effect, which is then ready to blow.
All right, so with this in mind, we will do a quick rundown of what this combination can mean to different people based on the rising signs of the birth chart.
Keep in mind that this is just a snapshot and cannot possibly take into account all the particulars of individual charts. But do remember that being forewarned is being forearmed. It is one of the reasons to use astrology in the first place. So without further ado, here's our take on Mars, Saturn, Rahu combination for each of the rising signs.
For Aries, Libra is the 7th house of marriage and partnership. It goes without saying that if your relationship with your spouse or business partner is already strained, 3 malefics influencing the 7th house of one-on-one relationships won't help. It's better to give each other some space. Attempts to work it out are likely to fail.
For Taurus, Libra is the 6th house of enemies, disease, pets, debts, and struggle. Malefic planets are supposed to be good in the 6th house for overcoming difficulties and defeating enemies, but malefic planets in the 6th house of disease are not beneficial for health. And for pets, another 6th house signification, the transit of malefics are problematic. So this is a position that offers mixed results.
For Gemini rising, Libra is the 5th house of love, creativity, children, and investment. Saturn equals control, Rahu equals obsession, and Mars equals conflict. An obsession with being in control can lead to conflict with 5th house relationships, like lover or child. Needless to say, malefic planets do not augur well for speculation and investment.
For Cancer, Libra is the 4th house of home and domestic life. The 4th house is also the house of deep-seated feelings, comfort, and stability. Saturn wants security, but Rahu brings transformation, and Mars in the 4th house is like having a bull in the china shop. This transit combination makes it hard to keep the domestic situation on an even keel.
For Leo rising, Libra is the 3rd house of skills and efforts, as well as younger siblings. Malefic planets here, especially action-oriented Mars and inventive Rahu, promote making efforts, but Saturn, the planet of delay, holds everyone else back, adding up to a rather frustrating situation, which could extend to problems for the younger sibling.
For Virgo, Libra is the 2nd house of money and support. The 3 malefic planets don't bode well for personal finances, and certainly not for the welfare of the other signification of the 2nd house, the nuclear family.
For Libra rising people, this trio of planets hits the most personal part of the chart, the house of self. Saturn is structure, Rahu is transformation. Mars comes along and adds an extra kick for making personal changes in your life. It's stuff you and the people around you will notice.
For Scorpio, Libra is in the 12th house of endings, loss, and expense. Saturn in particular, when transiting through the 12th, indicates things coming to an end or completion. Rahu and Mars move things along. The 3 malefics have a detrimental effect on another of the 12th house significations, the subconscious, bringing on fear, doubt, and anxiety. The 12th house is uncertainty.
And for Sagittarius, Libra is the 11th house of profit and gain, goals and ambitions, friends and associates. Malefics transiting in this sector are considered beneficial for motivating you towards your ambitions, but they do make the 11th house's signification of social interactions kind of rough. Again, like the 6th house, it's a mixed bag of results.
For Capricorn, Libra is the 10th house of career and public action. Watch out for frustration in your business or professional actions, a blow up with a superior, or your boss goes on tilt, causing you stress. Knowing this in advance ought to help temper your reactions to the BS, or it can manifest as problems with the actions you do out in your community.
For Aquarius rising charts, Libra is the 9th house of good fortune, beliefs and morals, father and guru, and long-distance travel. Malefic planets here may test your faith. Your father and or the relationship with him could suffer, and long-distance travel is not recommended at this time.
And for Pisces, Libra is the 8th house of partners' money. Big changes, chronic problems, physical vitality, clandestine actions as well. Malefic planets transiting here are unfavorable for the partner's finances and can signify major events of the unpleasant variety, including health blow-ups.
All right, so feel free to send us your feedback via the comment section of this website, since we intend on including this sort of breakdown of the signs in future shows.
Thanks for visiting astrologynewsreport.com. Now on to segment 3 of this week's show.